This is Ian,
And this is Mark.
and this is
Let's get into
let's
it.
get into it.
Take
So,
two,
Mark, take
right?
two. Yeah, this is the second take.
What happened?
The
Whoops.
first take we did a full rundown, and we said, "Hey, how was it?" And then Mark said it wasn't. I didn't press record, so
Yeah.
yeah, this is take two, guys. So
Newbie mistake. We got it out of the way. We're good to go.
you'll never know which is better because this is all you'll have, right? So why don't you take us through our topics for this evening, Mark?
Yep. All right. Three stories. First in sports news of the week. There's many, but we're going to discuss Urban Meyer specifically. Leadership, right? What that means in terms of his firing and just sports in general. Number two, we're going to touch on kind of our thoughts on cryptocurrency for 2022. We will start dabbling this year, so we're going to share our thoughts for the future.
Looking forward to that.
Finally, yeah, since it is the end of the year, we'll wrap it up with New Year's resolutions and goal setting because 'tis the season.
GS, goal setting. I love it. All
right, let's get
into it. So the first topic, Mark, why don't you lead us off here?
Urban Meyer, his tenure with the Jags is over. Short-lived.
Incredibly short-lived.
Did not meet expectations. I think my all the talking heads this week talked about how these college coaches have a hard time transitioning to the professional game and vice versa sometimes. But I kind of wanted to look at it more from a leadership angle. I mean, I don't think 1 year ago today, anybody would argue that Urban Meyer wasn't successful and that he was not a good leader, right?
I agree completely. Yeah, I think expectations were sky high. You probably couldn't have found somebody with a better pedigree in terms of winning, success on the field, in terms of X's and O's. He was the right guy. I think everyone expected him to last more than 10 to 12 games. So he came with the knowledge, and he was, maybe we thought, the leader, but then those leadership skills didn't translate, and it fell apart rather quickly. So
yeah, and
what happened?
That's I don't know. I mean, yes, it's easy to say the leadership skills you need to lead a group of young men, boys, 18-year-old kids who are a half your age or a third of your age is different than leading a 30-year-old, 35-year-old multimillionaire. But I still think if you're imagining sitting in a high school or college classroom and the teacher says, "What does leadership mean to you?" and people are writing up on the board, "Oh, it means lead by example, first in, first out, humility,
Right.
honesty." You would think certain leadership traits, I thought, were universal, maybe, but maybe they aren't. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because I definitely think that good leaders create a good culture, and it's possible at Ohio State, culture played second fiddle to just success. I mean, he kind of stiff-armed his way through. He had the boosters, he had the best players, best resources, and I'd be interested to know how that locker room felt, because I think that Meyer tried to bring that same leadership to the NFL, and it didn't translate at all. So obviously,
not with this team, no.
The leadership skills are not universally appropriate for different positions. It was still football. It was a different step. It was a step up, arguably, but his team of experts around him, maybe that was a difference. Maybe leadership is creating a system of vice lieutenants, second in command people that can kind of pull you up when you're down and can kind of instill a culture of success and a culture of respect and maybe empathy that maybe he didn't have to do that in college, or I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't have the answer either. It was, no one expected him to win the Super Bowl in year one, but I think people expected a little more than what has occurred. Both in terms of on the field and off the field and in the locker room and all these just kind of ancillary stories. So I don't know. Disappointing, I guess, if you're a fan.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just as a fan of good quality NFL programs, and kind of it definitely is. It puts a little bit of a stain on the whole coaching carousel going forward, because the toxic tendencies that came out of his coaching style. It's probably endemic of a lot of. He's not the only person that's probably falling prey to this kind of stuff. But
I think that's a lot of sports in general, football, basketball, you name it, I guess. But
yeah, so obviously technical brilliance. He definitely knows football, but maybe the self-destructive traits and kind of the dark side of leadership, where it's kind of like, my way or the highway. It may work in a certain group of a group with different expectations and different contexts, but it certainly didn't translate to the NFL, and likely not going to hear much about him going forward. I think this is probably certainly not going to be coaching again in the NFL.
Probably not.
Wasn't able to keep that in check. So so that's our sports story.
Yeah. Nothing more to say, honestly. You want to take us away on story number 2 there, Ian?
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about cryptocurrency in our previous episodes. But I think that in terms of the totality of finance, this is something that I think Mark and I are really keen on learning and discussing. Almost 6 in 10 of the people who purchased crypto in the last year were newbies. They were, they had no experience in crypto.
6 in 10, you said?
6 in 10, essentially.
And that would include you and I would say, right? We basically stuck our feet
so
in.
we're kind of falling into that group where, previous to this year, I obviously had heard about crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, tokens, coins. The language was familiar to me, but I had no idea how to purchase it, what kind of platforms were available. And so our crypto journey is kind of blossoming, and we thought that maybe it would be useful for our audience to kind of hear about some of the ways maybe to approach 2022, I guess, and beyond.
It's kind of I would say it's like wild, wild west right now, but you have some cool statistics you found, right?
Yeah. So I think yes, there's a lot of bad info. There's little oversight largely, and there's big opportunities though. So basically, I'm going to talk about, 5 ways to maybe effectively think about the market, to build wealth regardless of where you're at. So the first thing is risk versus reward. So this is huge. Everybody who's listening to this has heard of the huge Wall Street bets, life-changing moments. Somebody who's on their lunch break is able to retire because they turned $18 into 18 million, right? We've all heard these things. But the take-home message here is that that's probably not going to be you, right? The top 200 coins. Yeah. So top 200 coins, 200 since 2020, only 5 have returns above 10,000, and 10,000 is kind of that moonshot level. That's that huge, that's that 4 zeros. So you have a 2.5% chance of picking the right coin at the right time. So not only do you have to get the right coin, but the right time. So chasing the one is risky, right, Mark? Doesn't make a lot of sense.
Risky, pretty low odds. And you just mentioned timing. I don't even know if they aren't on a mainstream quote unquote platform.
Right.
I don't even know how to access some of them, because your attempted investment may be one of these Squid Game, pull the rug out from underneath you kind of things, right?
Some of these 200 coins, to have them in your wallet, so to speak, you might have to jump through 3 to 5 hoops. And 200 coins, only 5 have returns above 10,000.
I don't know what's the percentage on a lottery ticket. I'm not sure, but I feel like it's better than 2.5. Maybe not for 10,000 return, but for something.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're going to spend, so that's a good point. So the second thing to think about in terms of crypto is what is the market? There's so many coins and tokens and everything like that. But really, when you're thinking about crypto, I think moving into the new year, it's really about Ethereum and Bitcoin. That's really
I would say 3 things: Ethereum, Bitcoin, and everything else, right?
Right. So if you're the kind of person that's interested in starting your crypto journey in this coming year, you could do buying crypto and buying Bitcoin and Ethereum are probably the way to go.
Is it a fair analogy to say those are the quote unquote blue chip cryptos? Compared.
I think that's incredibly fair, especially if you just look at the returns. $50 a week in Bitcoin from 2016 to 2021, you're looking at 2,200% returns. Ethereum is 6,000% returns. So obviously this is not an indicator of future success.
Right. Past performance. Yeah.
If someone asks me what I would suggest they do, one of the first things I would say is buy some Bitcoin, buy some Ethereum. People push back and say Bitcoin is already $60,000. You know, if I buy 200 bucks of it, it's a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. But when things rise, you make money. Obviously, you're not going to. It's relative to your investment, but there are so many cryptos that don't even exist anymore, and these two stalwarts are probably, I don't want to say safe because nothing's safe about this, but
yeah.
When people talk about crypto, Bitcoin and Ethereum.
And that's what I was going to point out as the other caveat is if you do choose to invest, make sure this is money that you are willing to lose, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not your mortgage. It's not your kid's college fund. It's not even your lunch money, right?
Exactly. This is speculation with some big upside, and it's enjoyable when things are going your way, right? So,
yeah.
And then kind of one of the last couple of points I would say is we've heard the term diamond hands a lot this year, you know, thanks to the AMC. Yeah, exactly. And all the different meme stocks. But essentially, you know, I think a lot of experts who play the crypto game would argue that, you know, this is sort of, as much as you might want to make a quick buck, long-term holding seems to have predicated some success for a lot of investors. $100 in each top 10 coins over the last 4 years. There was an individual who did a study about that, and some years he lost money. 1 year, he had a 1.7% return. So 1.7 is essentially next to nothing.
Inflation. That's a loss.
Not really a bragging
loss of purchasing power. Yeah.
But the take-home message here, Mark, is that over the course of those 4 years, his whole return was 514%.
Because he held.
No, because he held.
The ups and the downs.
These were going low. You know, he or she didn't panic. They held the course. They believed in the long-term viability of the product, so to speak. And so, short-term, you might lose your shorts.
You can get slaughtered. Yeah.
Long-term, stay in. And then basically, the last thing I'll leave you guys with is the fact that it doesn't have to be a ton of money and a ton of your market allocation. A lot of people who buy stocks, ETFs, the whole gamut, real estate, 5% of their portfolio is in crypto, and they feel great about that. They feel like that's a smart allocation. They feel like they can make some money, but they're also, it's not a thing yet in 2022 nearly where someone's going to say half your portfolio should be crypto. It's just, we're not there yet. So
no.
So I guess those are my big takeaways. Mark, what do you want to add to that?
Nothing really. I think you nailed it. I'm right there with you. 3 to 5%, even 5% feels heavy for me, but I'm very conservative fiscally.
Investing in the top 10 coins by market cap. You can find that on a number of websites.
Yeah.
Thinking with this, the top 10 coins have historically
and
been the coins to deal with.
I even break it down, you know, so let's say 3 to 5% crypto. I'm going to say 40% Bitcoin, 40% Ethereum. The other 20% is where you do your meme coins, your Doge, your Shiba, your Moonshot, right?
40-20, it makes great sense.
You do that, you can sleep at night. You're not going to probably become an overnight millionaire, but you know.
But you're probably not going to lose everything as well. So that's kind of a crypto primer. Obviously, we're learning alongside everybody else this whole crazy system. But let us know what you think.
Yeah. If you have any insights into the next moonshot, leave it a comment below. Let us know.
Hear it. So Mark, take us to the goal setting segment, if you will.
Yes, it's the end of the year, end of 2021, another year in the books, and I kind of want to talk about goal setting and New Year's resolutions. You know, I always hear people I shouldn't say always. I like New Year's resolutions. A lot of people knock it, and they say, if you want to do something, why are you waiting till an arbitrary date in the calendar, January 1st? Just make the change tomorrow. And although I think that's true, you can do that logically. From a human psychology point of view, having a clear demarcation end date and a start for a new beginning actually works wonders, right? Especially in our society where we have Thanksgiving, Christmas, wrap it all up, boom, go. January 1st, resolution. And you and I are pretty big on goal setting, especially the last couple of years, right?
We're definitely in the minority. We're kind of the goal setting mutants. Both have spreadsheets, both have Word docs.
Write it down.
We spend a lot of time mulling over what's a achievable goal, what makes sense. You know, we obviously have our big buckets, whether it's finance, fitness, sort of general health and wellness, passion projects. I think goal making is exciting. I look forward to early December, the last couple of years, especially. I've sat down, I've talked out loud with a number of people, you know, people who I share sort of goals and personal stories and, you know, what makes sense, what are they doing, how are they doing it? I mean, all dates are arbitrary, but why not start brand new year?
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that, you know, we're at the point in our lives where we don't have it all figured out, but we know what we like, where we are, and where we kind of aspire to be. And the best way to get there is to write that down, to say it out loud, to speak life into it, right? And then have a roadmap to pursue it. Because if you don't, then you'll do it in January and you'll do it in February, and then you forget about it in March.
Right. I think for me, it comes down to, you know, you have your work, you have your family, you have the things you have to get done, the things you kind of have to get done. And then there's whatever's left, whatever you're interested in, whatever kind of keeps you up at night, your passions. Put it on paper. You know, have a goal. If you're an avid bike rider, Peloton, cyclist, runner, sub 20-minute 5K, or you want to bike 1,000 miles, or you want to read 100 books a year, you know, basically, you know, have a metric and then just follow it and share it with people. I mean, as much as you want to share, you know, if it's obviously a personal finance goal or something, maybe you want to hold that closer, but you know, if you share these goals and you kind of make it a collective group process, I mean, think one, it's inspiring, and two, it helps you, you know, if you can talk it out and make sense of it with other people, all the better, really, right?
I think you should share it with other people. I think if you don't want to share it, then maybe you're not surrounding yourself with people who want to help make you better and make themselves better. Right?
Yeah.
It's not like your goal is to like, oh, I'm trying to take my buddy's job. Maybe it is. I don't know. You know, it's like we're all on this journey through life together. It's hard enough. Why not pull each other up and help, right? Encourage each other and keep each other accountable. And something I've done this year for accountability, and I loved it, was when I printed my goals out, I stuck them on my bathroom mirror, right?
Right. Every morning,
right there every day.
In front of you, right? You see it.
Yeah. And it's not like, it's not a shame thing. I'm not like, oh, I failed again or whatever. It's like, I did good these 2 months. I kind of drop off a third month. All right, month 4, look at it. I'm still on track. Let's reinvigorate. Let's go for it again, right? And it really helped me. You know, I'm not going to get all my goals done this year, but I think I'm on 5 out of 7 here. It's December 17th or so. I don't even know what the date is.
Yeah, I mean, goal making is a great catalyst for human psychology. I mean, basically, if you want to create a habit, you know, brushing your teeth is a habit. You do it subconsciously. You don't think about it. If you want to build these habits, I mean, goal making, mapping out a pathway for success. I mean, these are things that work for a lot of people. It's difficult though. A lot of people don't make goals because they're afraid they're not going to. They are afraid they're not going to, you know, follow through on them, and it's failure. Accountable. But I mean, for personal growth and development, you're not going to meet all your goals. You know, I have never measured. You know, if I have 15 goals, I'm not going to hit all of them, and the ones I didn't hit, it's a good chance to kind of sit back and look at maybe why weren't those successful, you know?
Yeah. And even hitting 80% of a goal and quote unquote failing, I mean, you're 80% better by some measurement than you were had you not done that goal, right? So that failure made you stronger, made you better, made you learn something about yourself.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think deep dive goal setting, it's a great thing. It helps boost confidence too, especially when you start doing these over the course of 3 to 5 years. You can see, okay, in 2021, you know, I had this goal, I achieved 8% of it, and now I'm pivoting and moving to different things. And you know, I hope people listening have some time, some free time that they can pursue a passion or a hobby or an activity. Make it a goal, you know.
Definitely, it builds, I think, internal fulfillment, and then the success begets more success. It builds
get
that
this ball
self-belief,
rolling.
that confidence, because no one cares more about you and your life and your goals than you do, right? So
Goal setting has to start with you. Yep, you have to own it for sure. You can ask for feedback, friends and
definitely
family, but it's got to be you. So, yeah, Mark and I mean, we're big on goal setting.
big on
So,
goals. Yeah.
um, our listening audience, it's December 19th. You got some time, so look forward to hearing about your goals. Love to hear that from you
Yeah, put
guys.
them below, and we will definitely share an update with you maybe in March, see how we're doing for the new year.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess that kind of segues into kind of our ask for the evening. We would really like for you guys to write to us on Facebook with your opinions, share feedback, and the like. Comment, like, and subscribe. It really helps the algorithm. You guys have heard that. But from a personal level, Mark and I would really appreciate it as well. So let us know
Yeah,
what stories you'd like us to discuss, and we'd be happy to take those into consideration. So
we're having fun doing this. But I think we're kind of dipping our toes and we're kind of committing here, so we want to roll with it. So definitely let us know, yeah, what you want to hear us talk about. Ian, can you wrap up our stories for us today?
yeah, so if you recall, our three stories were the Urban Meyer firing and leadership. We then talked about cryptocurrency in 2022, gave you some big ticket item ideas and thoughts I think to mull over. And lastly, we wrapped up the conversation with goal making in 2022, resolutions, why we love them, and why we hope you do too.
All right. Well, thanks. I'm Mark.
And I'm Ian. And that was
Let's get into it.
Let's Get Into It.
Thanks for listening. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The content in this podcast is not intended to be a research report, financial, or life advice, and does not constitute an endorsement of any product, service, individual, or organization.